we've all been working 9, 10, 11 days, but we're not paid yet. And the question is why, right? We've been living in our places and we haven't paid our rent. And the question is why? We're watching Netflix or HBO or whatever you want, and we're paying it once a month. And the question is why, right? So I think today I want to reflect about the way payment flows, right? And the reason why fundamentally we consume, we earn, and basically as we do things, we still have peaks. We still have, the flows are not as linear as they could be, right? So here's the way we can think about it. Yesterday, today, and tomorrow. So yesterday, or more accurately, let's say 200 years ago, 300 years ago, we used to go and work in the countryside, and we would go back with our bags full of corn and we would sell them, right? And we would get paid for those bags, right? And it felt quite natural. You work, you get paid. Right? So actually, if you think about it, I don't know if you've been doing some like small jobs before actually working when you were younger. Some people used to cut the lawn at their neighbor. For me, I was just teaching math and physics at some like friends or for other students. And I was working and I was getting paid, and it felt normal, right? So if we think about it today, there is a huge trend that I want to talk about, and that is the trend of the earned wage access. So this is the most built business in B2B fintech, so meaning that the businesses that would work with other businesses, and in this category, in the last 2 or 3 years, right? So this really has been fundamentally accelerated with the pandemic and the recent events, and I think it fits quite well for the year one story, right? So the idea of earned wage access is the idea to access your earned wage, right? So as you work, you get paid. And this is something very new that basically allows you through an app or any type of platform, as you see you're accumulating a type of work, you actually can get it whenever you want, instantly, on any source, right? So for instance, you can get it in your bank, you can get it anywhere. This actually comes from the United States. Like almost 8 years ago, they already started to work on this new trend, on this new opportunity, but it has been accelerated, right? And it's been accelerated because we're seeing that now we want everything right now, here and now, right? And if we're seeing a lot of the gig economy as well. Like if you think about it, Glovo, that is not too far from here. If you think about it, a Cabify, when someone works for Glovo, he goes and delivers your food, he actually gets paid. You're eating, you're paying him, but he's like, there are some industries where people don't receive their money as they work. But most of the gig economy is already paid on demand, right? While on a Cabify is the same. People drive you, and then after they get paid straight away. So why is that concept not being able to go to all the companies? And there's no good reason why, and this is why basically this is happening now, right? So there are over hundreds of businesses that are working on solving this problem, and it's very interesting what are the dynamics that you can create if now the payment can flow and can be a lot more instant, right? So if we think about it from our initial questions, there are already many startups that work in taking subscriptions, taking anything that you used to pay every week, every month, every year, and making it shorter, making it more instant, right? Think about it, like our parents, when they were renting an office, they were probably paying once per year, not even once per month, once per year, right? That's how rent for office used to work. Then it started per month, then it started per week, and even now you can even get it per hour or per day, right? And like with all the WeWork and many co-working that really help to make it more flexible, making it more instant. Think about subscriptions, right? Like there are many companies that work into these as well, making it more instant. Think about anything, right? When you go to rent a house, before it was extremely difficult to go and rent a house for a day, right? Like thanks to like Airbnb, right now it's completely democratized. Like it's a new category, but that's because we want everything now. We all want more flexibility. And this actually goes into like a much bigger trend. It goes into the trend of pretty much everything as a service, right? Like XaaS, everything as a service. We want to have everything as a service. We want to be able to go and use a car and not buy it every 8 years, or I don't know, use a fridge and not buying every 6 years. We want to, every time we use something, we pay for it. And this basically unlocks a huge amount of opportunities. If you would be able to see the way money comes in and out instantly, then it would basically allow you to do a lot more and to plan a lot better. Because what is difficult is that you would spend and then you would earn, and you would spend and you would earn, and it's extremely difficult to see those cycles. You have many countries where actually the pay cycles are not like they are in Europe. In Australia, people get paid once per week. In Latin America, a lot of people get paid twice per month, right? There is no good reason for that. Right? So this is a little bit about the idea of what is happening now. So now let's think a bit more about like how could this evolve? So imagine that we're all like our children, our grandchildren will have forgotten that we used to be paid once per whatever, right? So what does that mean for their lives? What does that mean for the way they would plan their spending? So it's actually extremely interesting, because when you're seeing the companies that are doing earned wage access, they're basically at the very source of the money of the entire economy. Right? If you think about it, like from any type of fintech, and there are plenty of models these days, right? Think about the model of buy now, pay later, right? That has been like a huge success recently. Basically, it's solving the same issue. You want something now, you don't have the resource to pay it now, but you will have it at some point, right? So you need more flexibility. You need to be able to have that. Most of those models, they actually work towards one goal, that is taking the value chain of the money of the economy and trying to go as high as possible. Right? This is the goal of actually most of the fintech. Right? And this model of earned wage access is extremely powerful, because by getting to the source, this is actually where you can basically provide any type of service that you would be the first in line to do that. Now think, for instance, that you want to buy a house. You want to buy a house, you will go to the bank and you will say, hey, I would need a mortgage of 100, 200, 300,000. The bank will tell you, okay, great. You have a certain risk profile because you're making X per month. But actually, if this changes, if the source of the money is different, then your risk profile changes. So actually the whole way banking works should be different as well, because there is something before banks. There is something before you actually get paid, because your work is linked to your money directly, right? Which is why those companies that are doing that are actually changing a lot of the way that people would be spending, because thanks to that, everything that you spend directly as you're earning it, you're not spending it before you earn, you're spending it as you earn it. And this is really going towards the trend of having everything more immediate, having everything more on demand. And I think this is why, like, when you're thinking about economies that are that have more startups working on such models, which is typically the United States, you get numbers that are really surprising. You have about a third of the population that is already getting paid on demand. Right? This is extremely high. It means there's 3 people every 10 that have forgotten that if they don't press a button, they don't get paid. The money gets accumulated in that pocket. Right? So they don't get paid on the day 7, get paid on the day 10 or 12 or 15 or 30 or 35 or 40. Right? There is not this idea of months anymore. Right? So it's a very different concept. And I think just like before we were ordering food, we were ordering a taxi the way we do. We were not really thinking that this could actually happen. But this is actually happening. Like there are a sizable proportion of the population that is being paid that way, right? So you would need to think like of, once this happens, what is the relevance of banks? What is the relevance of neobanks? Because they are coming one step further, right? So there will always be, obviously, like a need for a proper infrastructure. But if you disrupt the source of the money, then you actually disrupt a lot of the way people would spend. Right? And again, no good reason for having those flow the way they are today. You could very much see in one single place how everything comes and goes, right? Over the years, you could say, okay, like if I keep doing what I'm doing, I could buy a TV and basically this would happen this way. So the idea of a loan couldn't be different, right? The idea of getting money that you do not have could be different. So I think this is just the reflection that I wanted to bring, that it's, think about the flow and think about how it goes in and out and really question it. Why? Like, why is it happening like this? Is there fundamentally a good reason, right? Like, because that's what will really shape tomorrow. And really, I think that the current situation has a bit reshuffled the deck. So we have a lot of opportunity to see that these new trends are much faster. But really, like, there are so many things that do not make sense in the way we spend and we earn. And I think this is why this model is extremely relevant for the next couple of years. Thank you.